Alrighty, starting another project. This one's going to be a kitchen island bench, 1.5 metres long, 1100 wide and about 900 high. So I often get asked how much wood I'll use in a project for this size. The short answer is I have no idea. So I'm going to start with about 6 pallets. All of these palletwood slats will be trimmed down in half, one to lighten the load of the overall project, and secondly I'm going to double the amount of timber I get out of these pallets. So watch along and let me know what you think.
So anyway, my name's Mark. G'day, how you going? I like to make stuff out of recycled palletwood timber. 6 pallets. I think I was dreaming there. I ended up busting down about 19 pallets to complete this project. Anyway, I'll do a bit of that as I go. Watch along. Happy to take any feedback or comments down below. Appreciate you watching. Cheers. So at this stage I've busted down about 13 pallets, but I've had to pull out a heap of timber that has this black stain through it, which I guess is oil. It really does ruin the project, so I get rid of all that at this stage. So I've laid out all 13 on the bench top here as best I can. At this stage I thought that was going to be enough. It's not going to be. I guess I'll be making some more shortly. Now I do mention this in all my videos because it's probably one of my most asked questions. I don't do anything to the pallet slat timber prior to glue up, other than cutting it on the table saw to a similar width. I don't plane, I don't sand. I just make sure I cover the entire face with glue and then I clamp the hell out of it. I'll build in the structure later. This is just a cheap PVA glue. I don't rely on it for the strength of this build at all. Because it's going to take me several days to get all of my slabs clamped together, I've only got so many clamps. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the shelving and the framework. So I'm just going to rip down and neaten up some of these pallet stringers, and then I'm going to cut some rabbets. This is the first time I've done this, but what I want to do is cut down a heap of time and as well as cut down a heap of weight in this build. Okay, it's time to start cleaning up all my slabs and flattening them. Don't mind me, things get a bit loopy in the shed when you're hanging out there by yourself all day. And when you've got about 26 slabs to run through the planer multiple times, you do start to lose your mind just a little bit. So all 4 sides of these bricks need to be nice and square. So when I get to the bricklaying, if you will, it'll clamp up nice and tight. So I'll just use my table saw with the sled for the cross cut, and then I'll run it to rip it just with the table saw fence. I'm going to get to work making the edge piece of the top and side. So I'm going to do these interlocking joints, which is basically like a giant box joint or giant finger joints. So it's all just glued up, but the interlocking edge is super tight, nice and strong. And while the edge pieces are in clamps, I'm going to get to work making up my 5 posts for the framework. So I'm laminating 2 of these pallet stretches together to give myself a nice square profile. I'm then going to get to work on cutting all the slats for the 2 shelves. So again, here comes another 3 pallets just in slats. So I'll trim those all to the size, square them up. I'm then going to rip them or resaw them. Did I get that right, fix it fingers? I'm going to resaw them to get a nice thin profile. Then they're nice and smooth. They're all the same. Saves a bit of time sanding later on. So all that shelving slats, that's actually going to get recessed in those rabbets I made earlier. So I'm now going to cut 45s on all those edge pieces. Then I'm going to glue it together, run the slats across, all glued, all clamped. Again, nice and strong. I'm quickly sorting all my bricks out. I want to make sure I've got all the best pieces on top because this is going to be a kitchen island, and then any parts that have any depressions or low parts, I'll make sure they're on the side where it doesn't matter. So now I'll just get to work, start the bricklaying. So I'm going to work down the side piece first, clean that up, spin it over before I get to work on the top. And it was at this point I realised I have nowhere near enough bricks. So pull apart another 3 pallets, make another 8 bricks. That should hopefully be enough. So I'm sanding as I go, cleaning up the side edge, because once that top length is completely done, it's going to make it too difficult to get to. So, and sanding's hard yakka, bit at a time, never hurt anyone. Going back on the framework, I've got my posts now. I'm doing some checkouts with the table saw sled. The shelving I've made with those rabbit edges, that's actually going to sit inside these recesses I'm making here. Now I'm making my way across the top of the kitchen island. It's going to take several days, so I'm going to do a bit at a time. Hey, now it's time to assemble the framework. I'm going to do it in 2 parts. So this main square, then I'm going to tack on the left-hand side. It also has 1 extra post that will be the support of the overhang of the kitchen island, so you can tuck your seats in, etc, etc, etc. Okay, this end of the framework is the side that's going to butt up against that inside of the feature slab edge. So I'm just doing nothing fancy, but there is a whole heap of interlocking pieces of timber. It's going to lock it all in, make it nice and strong, and also give me that same profile look as you look down the table to match up with those square posts. And this is that final post I was just talking about that sits under the overhang to hold that floating edge of the kitchen bench up. Alrighty, the final bit of bricklaying will be done right now. Whip the edge off with a circular saw, clean it up with a sander, and we are getting very close to the finish. Okay, so I pretty much make all this stuff up as I go, so I get a bit anxious now when these two big pieces are going to meet for the first time, but thankfully it's all worked out quite nice. I never get bored of this part. So if you watch any of my other videos, you'll understand this, but chucking the clear coat on, it really does start to bring out the colours, and this one, very happy with. It's very random, but a really cool mix. Let me know what you think.
G'day, so just about done on the kitchen. I was going to actually talk to you along the way, but I don't really like to do that. But anyway, so 19 pallets to get this job done for the slab top and the side. There's about 13 pallets in that, and about 3 pallets just to make up this shelving. It's mostly the slats of the pallets, however I have used some of the stringers for all these posts which I made. Thanks for watching along. If you've made it this far, that's cool. I really appreciate you guys supporting me and a lot of the other Aussie makers on the rise. Big shout out to those guys. I'm going to put some links down below of some other channels that you may want to check out, not to mention Fix It Fingers, Sumo's Projects. They're 2 top Aussie channels to get amongst of. Who else we got? Oz Sawdust Makers, there's another one. Down Under Woodworks, he's got a pretty large channel and some really great contact. Jump on that one as well. If I think of some more, I'll chuck them in the again down below. So I'm making this up as I go. Cheers, keep watching.
So that's a wrap on the kitchen island. Normally I have a rule that if I can't lift it, I don't build it. I did get this one off the bench, but I then had to call in the troops to help me get it out of the shed and get it around to the front of the house for collection. And again, thank you for watching. This has been a big one. It's also been very enjoyable, and I've tried some new things and learned some new things. So help me out, subscribe, do what you got to do. Thank you.